Information and news you need. News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is 5:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. The new West Davis Highway has officially opened to drivers in Davis County. Travelers were welcomed on the 4-lane divided highway Saturday morning at 11:30 a.m. The 16-mile road stretches between the I-15 Legacy Parkway Junction near Glover's Lane in Farmington and the future extension of SR 193 in West Point. The project also included over 10 miles of new trail and new trail connections to create a consolidated system connecting Immigration Trail to Legacy Parkway Trail. UDOT officials said over 2,500 people attended a community event on Saturday to celebrate the grand opening. Construction began on the highway in May 2021. Officials originally estimated that the project would be completed by the summer of 2024. According to UDOT Executive Director Carlos Bracaras, there has been a concerted effort to open up the new highway as soon as possible because they know it will immediately make a huge difference in people's lives. Bracaras went on to say people need different options to get where they want to go and in the way they want to get there. And the project represents their commitment to accomplishing this mission. KVNU News Time is 5:04. KVNU weather for tonight. We do have partly cloudy skies this evening, and then more clouds roll in. Slight chance of snow after midnight tonight, low near 10. Chance of snow in the morning, then snow in the afternoon. Accumulation up to 2 inches, high around 30. South winds 10 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. And then breezy snow in the evening. Snow likely after midnight. Accumulation 1 to 4 inches. And, the Weather Service is saying a possibility of a snow squall, meaning blowing snow near zero visibility as the snow squall moves through tomorrow evening from north to south. On Wednesday, snow likely in the morning, snow in the afternoon with accumulations possible. Again, heavy snow possible Wednesday afternoon. And as far as we can see in the forecast, chance of snow each day. 24 has been our high. It's 21 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Maple Creek Ranch. Build your dream home on some of the most beautiful lots in Cache Valley. 2.5-acre lots, miles of wilderness, babbling brooks, and more. Just east of Franklin, Idaho. All roads are now paved. Learn more at maplecreekranch.net.
The colder weather is here. Are your quilts and blankets looking dingy? Is your winter coat or jacket dirty enough to stand in the corner just by itself? Well, go to Mount Logan Laundry. It'll take no time at all to freshen up everything. They have the 55 and 80-pound washers, the biggest around, and great big dryers, too, and it costs a whole lot less than dry cleaning. Free Wi-Fi and drop-off service. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town on the corner of 5th East, 9th North, and Logan, or in Brigham at 1st East, 7th South. Mount Logan Laundry.
KVNU News Time is 5:06 as another winter storm hits Utah. Transportation officials are urging drivers to be patient with more snowplows out on the roads. On Friday night, a snowplow tipped over after a driver tried to pass it in Eagle Mountain. A UDOT spokesperson, John Gleason, said that over the course of next week, you're going to see a lot of UDOT plows out there on the road. And he says give them a chance to do their job and make sure the roads are safe for all of us. Gleason said the best way to do that is to give them space. Fortunately, in this incident, the plow driver walked away uninjured, but 71 people were left without power because of the crash. And carbon monoxide monitors are being added to a church where dozens got sick last weekend. On December 31st, 54 people suffered from carbon monoxide poisoning at a meeting house of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Monroe. Church spokesperson Sam Penrod said in a statement that in all, 54 people reported symptoms and 49 of them received treatment for carbon monoxide poisoning. State Fire Marshal Ted Black said the meeting house did not have CO detectors at the time of the incident. He said they were not required to have those because in Utah, public buildings have to meet the codes that were in place when they were built. And this meeting house was built when CO detectors were not required. KBNU News Time is 5:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Looking for the best show deals on new and used RVs? You'll find them only in Ogden during the Northern Utah RV Show, January 11th through the 15th. We're bringing in new and used inventory and low show pricing inside the Golden Spike Event Center. For 4 full days, shop new and used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more from the nation's top brands. Find early season discount pricing on all new models and fantastic used RV discounts like a 2011 Dutchman 185 DB Sport for just $9,995. You'll also find that every remaining 2023 is being sold at clearance pricing during the event. Plus, get no payments until April on approved credits and huge trade-in offers on your current RV. Go to NorthUtahRVShow.com to shop the best deals first. This show season, you'll find it all in Ogden. Admission and parking are free to the Northern Utah RV Show, January 11th through the 15th inside the Golden Spike Event Center. Open daily at 10 a.m., closed Sunday. Then we're back at it Monday, Martin Luther King Day from 10 to 5. Sponsored by Bish's RV. Don't miss it.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris, Columbus Travel and Viking Cruises. Explore Europe on a deluxe river cruise. Visit Castle Country as you sail the Rhine River, visiting the Netherlands, France, Germany, and Switzerland, or amazing history along the Danube River, visiting Austria, Hungary, and Slovakia. Give us a call at Morris, Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris, Columbus.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru. Join me on the travel show every Saturday at 11 a.m. and I'll tell you where to go and how to get there with the best travel deals on the planet, including how to travel more and pay less, free this and free that promotions, and insider secrets on what the airlines, cruise lines, and hotels don't want you to know, along with your call-in travel questions every Saturday, 11 a.m. right here on News Talk 610 KVNU.
Do you know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada, helping thousands of veterans every year. Visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
What makes essential workers essential?
We keep where you work and live clean and safe.
We harvest fresh produce for your families to eat.
We help you heal when you're sick.
Essential workers help our nation run. You're in every corner of our country and come from all over the globe. I'm Marty Walsh. The Wage and Hour Division at the Department of Labor helps ensure you receive the essential protections you deserve. Visit our website or call 866-4US-WAGE.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Labor.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Finally getting back to it here. I started this just before the news last hour, and then the snow squall forecast threw us off. A lot of listeners wanted to know what exactly that was. They'd never heard it before. Bill and I hadn't either until a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's not a common forecast here in Utah, and it does mean serious conditions. Tomorrow evening, snow squalls are short-lived. They usually last about an hour. They most often happen on partly cloudy days. Almost always the predecessor to a cold front, temperature-wise, but they're dangerous.
What is it they call dust storms down in Arizona? Habib or some strange name, but
I forget.
But I was thinking a snow squall, I think it can be compared to a dust storm, except with, instead of dust, snow.
When you just have all these conditions that come together and just kind of stir up a little pocket of extremely intense weather. It burns itself out within an hour, but it can be really dangerous while it's happening. So, yeah. Freezing road conditions. Temperatures can drop 10, 15, even 20 degrees. 3 inches of snow possible in an hour. The record is 3.5 inches in 20 minutes in a snow squall in Pennsylvania. They're just really intense. And we used to just get forecasts that said, potential whiteout conditions, which can still happen with just wind and snow. But this is a snow squall, which is wind and snow and an extremely rapid dip in temperature. And it's going to hit us tomorrow night.
I think they almost always hit from the north.
Really? Well, that would
when they hit us anyway.
That would make sense for our geography, yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of where we're open.
Yeah, the mountains would break
less
it up
mountains
usually
directly to the north.
Yeah. So anyway, it's around 6 p.m. tomorrow night is what they're forecasting. And if you can avoid being out on the roads around then, a good time to avoid being out on the roads around then. And then after it passes, of course, keep an eye out for icy roads still, even as temperatures come back up. That 10 degrees if it drops that low. But, slushy, wet roads turn to ice sheets in just a minute or so as the snow squall comes through. Snow blowing sideways, winds 30 miles an hour. It's no joke, but it'll be over quickly. So don't panic necessarily. Back to the plan topic for last hour. I just wanted to run through some of the comments that were made today during the Utah Taxpayers Association. We covered part of this in hour one, which is the part where a few of the things that lawmakers said today had people saying, are you looking beyond the next election? The comment was, the economy's great, revenues are up, so we're going to do another income tax cut. And or we're going to do another X tax cut. And someone, reasonable question, someone said, well, what happens when revenues go back down? Because they will. Recessions happen. We don't know when. It might be next year. It might be 10 years from now. But there is another one coming, we know. And what happens then? And everyone on the panel, Senate President, House Speaker, Governor, just kept looking at each other. It unnerved more than a few people in attendance and watching on the live stream, to say the least. Later on in the day, lawmakers and the governor, realizing they'd made themselves not look so great, they started answering the question. And basically, to paraphrase all of this, what lawmakers are saying at this point is they're comfortable reducing the income tax again here in Utah because they feel that the good economy in Utah is a long-term thing, that they've got 10, 15 years of good revenue and growth that they can build on, and that in that time period, if they can keep taxes low and make them lower, that's how they should go about it. Now, of course, this goes without saying that the unspoken part of this is they're saying, look, if we need to take them back up, we'll take them back up. That's going to be far easier said than done. And here's where the concern comes from, because and I'm not making an argument over whether or not we should. Here's my take on people who say, as just a kind of a remote answer to this kind of stuff, well, we should just spend less. We should just cut the size of government. Okay, what? Start naming specifics. And inevitably what you'll find is that it's just something they personally don't care about. But hundreds of thousands of Utahns either rely on it or very much do care about it. That isn't to say that budgets can't be trimmed and that there isn't waste. There's a lot of waste in the Utah legislature, but enough to offset $1 billion in tax cuts, meaning there's a billion less dollars going into the state coffers every year. I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I couldn't possibly even guess. But lawmakers are confident that we are in that situation. The part they're not saying is that the state is still going to cost money. As we grow here in Utah, things like roads and schools are going to cost more money. Now, of course, as you grow, you also have more contributors, right? More taxpayers contributing that revenue into the state coffers. So the gamble that lawmakers and the governor are making here, and last year and the year before, is that the growth will keep things flat, at least. That there will be enough new people paying taxes in Utah year after year after year that it'll offset, it'll balance out, and the state won't have to let roads fall apart. The state can still beef up public transit. The state can still run good K through 12 public education schools. That's a gamble they're taking. And again, they might be 100% right. I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers. I do know this, though. There is a part of this they're not telling you. And that part is that something like an income tax cut, everybody loves that. You'd be hard-pressed to find a group of people who, if you said, I will cut your income taxes, you'll see less of that coming out of your paycheck every 2 weeks or every month. Most people are going to say, great. But when you look at it from a state funding or a state revenue perspective, the reality is that that income tax cut is going to be offset somewhere. And that's what lawmakers and the governor didn't discuss today at all. And when asked, they avoided it. Governor Cox, again, at the Taxpayer Association meeting in Salt Lake today, said, tax cuts are the top of the things I'm most proud of, and we've done it in a responsible way. We haven't put anything at risk, no important programs or road funding or education money, anything like that. We've cut taxes as revenues have gone up. The question, again, then was, well, what happens if revenues go down? And this is the part where they aren't answering the question, because the answer is when revenues go down, nobody ever in the legislature or in the governor's office here in Utah is ever going to say, well, folks, we had a good 15 years, but revenues went down. The income tax needs to increase. Now, maybe one day someone could say that and keep their office. But right now, next 5 years, no. That person's going to lose their elected office at the very next opportunity if there isn't a mechanism for recall in which they'll lose their office earlier. No one's going to propose an income tax increase. So the proposal unveiled today was, so last year we went from 495 to 485. Now the proposal for this upcoming session, when it starts about a week, they're going to talk about, now this doesn't mean it's going to happen, but they're going to debate taking it from 4.85% to 4.55. What they're not saying, this is what they're not saying. It will be offset by property tax increases and sales tax increases. The reason the legislature likes to cut your income tax is because that's the one they get credit for. And the other tax increases that come along a couple of years later to pay for things via your property tax increases and your sales tax increases, well, school districts, counties, and cities get yelled at for those tax increases, not the legislature. Which brings us full circle back to the original question that no one on the panel had an answer for today, which is, are you planning beyond the next election cycle? If revenues in Utah dip in 5 years, in 1 year, in 10 years, whatever it might be, if we hit a recession in the future and revenues go down, and lawmakers have cut the income tax, and remember Stuart Adams last year, the year of the tax cut, patting himself on the back so hard I thought he was going to flip. It's great for them heading into an election year. All of us love an income tax cut. Nobody hates that. But long-term picture, it is going to mean when we see revenues start to flatline or dip down, and again, it might be a long way off. We have a lot of growth coming in Utah, and that's a lot of additional taxpayers. So it may be 10 years down the road. But either way, we are going to see revenues dip, and the state is still going to have bills to pay, and you're going to see your property taxes go up. To give you some perspective on this, by how much, Texas has zero income tax. They went well below the 4%. They went to zero. They don't charge an income tax whatsoever on every resident's tax bill. But what that means is that they have a 1.6% property tax rate, which means a home of about $350,000, you're paying about $5,500 a year in property taxes. As home prices here in Utah currently are, most people I know couldn't afford at least without some pain, to see their property tax bill double. And it's worth noting as well that if you make under $150,000 a year, the income tax cut isn't saving you enough to offset the doubling of your property taxes. You get shortchanged. Those making $250,000 a year, they're great. Their property taxes go up too, but the income tax offsets that, so they're still actually pocketing more money. But if you make under $250,000, not the case. Your property taxes could nearly double, and the income tax money you saved that wasn't collected by the state isn't enough to offset the property tax bill. And in addition to that, as cities and counties struggle to meet their end of the social contract, keeping up roads and other things, you might see discussion of increasing the sales tax. That's how Nevada does it. Now, Nevada, of course, has gambling and casinos in Las Vegas. And so they could pretty much fund their entire state off of a sales tax. And that's what they did. They eliminated the income tax and increased the sales tax to about 7%. Cities and counties can, or cities at least, can add to that 7%. In one area in Nevada, I was looking today after seeing this conversation play out, sales tax rate is 8.25 in one area just outside of Vegas. Or the suburbs of Vegas, sorry. One of the surrounding cities there, it's 8.25% sales tax rate. So you pay for it. That's how we should say it. You're going to pay for roads and schools and police and fire departments one way or another. For lawmakers, it's great to cut your income tax because they get credit for that headed into an election year. For the rest of us, it might feel good at first. We might regret it later. Again, in Texas, 1.6% property tax rate. $350,000 home comes with a property tax bill of about $5,500 every year. They don't pay any income tax. And if you make enough, you save enough not paying income tax to offset the high property tax bill. If you don't make enough, then you kind of get the short end of both sticks. Taking us back one more time to the first of the conversation when during the panel discussion, lawmakers were asked, are you planning beyond the next election cycle? What happens if revenues dip in Utah in a recession or just dip in general over the next 10 years? And everybody just kept looking at each other. None of our quote-unquote leaders had an answer for something that is guaranteed to happen. But they get credits and back pats and praise if they cut your income tax. It's a concerning picture. Now, I've talked to lawmakers who are very smart about this thing. I know there are at least a handful of elected people on Capitol Hill here in Utah who really know how all this works and understand that though cutting income tax by 0.3% in an election year might be great for elections and re-elections, it's not necessarily good. It might be good long-term planning, but we should probably know that first, right? Those people, I'm confident, have looked into it. So I'll be looking at where a few of those are as this proposal gets debated. If you want to watch yourself, Senator Kurt Bramble is somebody who's all over this. Senator Jerry Stevenson, watch him closely. If he's for it, he's crunched the numbers and it'll work. If he's against it, he's crunched the numbers, and we're going to be de facto doubling everybody's property taxes over the next 5 years for an income tax that only half the state will really get a lot of money from. Income tax cut, sorry. So watch those two. We'll be back right after this.
Owning a business may be stressful, but insuring it doesn't have to be. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. Our experienced agents have been in the industry for many years and understand the challenges you face. As an independent agency, we have access to multiple carriers, like Auto Owners Insurance, to ensure you get the policy that's right for your company. Let's give your business insurance a fresh look. Call us today, 435-752-0101.
Ever felt judged at the gym?
You don't know how to use the leg curl machine? Are you serious? Is this your first day alive? No, it's okay. I love helping people during their first day on Earth.
At Planet Fitness, get energy without the judgment and join the judgment-free zone. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Get energized today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Friday, January 12th. See Home Club for details.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello. Travis Swan. Someone contacted us and let us know about how you're a volunteer firefighter with the Hiram Fire Department. How many years have you served?
This year will be 25 years.
Man, I bet you've had a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, a few.
And I'm sure your family's been woken up a few times when that phone rings.
That is true.
This is a way of saying thank you. We want to give you a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs.
That's awesome. Thank you.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU.
Speaking of lawmakers getting reelected, if you are an unaffiliated voter or even a Democrat, and in your voter registration, not your personal beliefs, if you are registered in the state of Utah to vote, but you were registered as unaffiliated or Democrat, you have until 5 p.m. tomorrow to register as a Republican if you plan to vote in the upcoming primaries, which there are going to be a few. We will have, I think this is an easy prediction at this point. I'm not going out on a limb to say we're going to have a primary in the governor's race. You're going to see, I think, a primary between Governor Cox and former Utah Republican Party chair and guest on our show just last week, Carson Jorgensen. I almost guarantee that goes to a primary. Phil Lyman is in that race too, but Phil is. We had him on the show here, and he sounded so reasonable. I don't know what's happened to the guy, but his Twitter account is just out there. KUTV story last week with elected leaders, Republican State Senate President Stuart Adams and former Speaker of the House, current Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, basically saying that Phil, one of them actually comes out and says Phil is lying. Phil said taxes had gone up, extreme tax increases was the phrase he used in a tweet last week, and then the journalist said, can you point us to one? And, of course, he couldn't because that hasn't happened. It was a weird little episode. So I don't think his campaign is going to be taken very seriously, maybe by delegates inside the Utah GOP or inside certain circles of that convention. He might get some traction and end up on the ballot thanks to delegates. I don't know. At this point, I think Carson Jorgensen is probably going to even get the delegate vote. Not sure if Carson Jorgensen plans to collect signatures to be on the ballot as well in that gubernatorial race. I haven't heard from him yet. And then, of course, you'll have the United States Senate primary. Right now, you have Brad Wilson, Mayor Trent Staggs from Riverton, former Speaker of the House Brad Wilson, John Curtis made it official last week, and then State Auditor John Dougal threw his hat in the ring today. It's going to make it hard for me to be impartial in this one. John Dougal, a good friend of mine. You won't find a more dedicated government transparency worker. He's fought for that so hard as state auditor. I hate to see him leave that job. But he announced last week he wasn't going to seek re-election, and then he announced today he'd be running in the District 3 to replace Congressman John Curtis, who is now running in the United States Senate race. I know it's confusing. So a lot of changes and at least two big primaries. And again, if you want to vote in these primaries that will be coming up in June, you have until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah, they tweaked it. But you have until 5 p.m. tomorrow to register as a Republican in order to vote as in the primary. Now, you can register at any time as unaffiliated or Democrat to vote in general. But to register for the Republican primary, which are closed here in Utah by the party, You must register as a Republican by 5 p.m. tomorrow. So if you're unaffiliated or a Democrat and want to weigh in on some of these races through the primary, which is really where the election happens here in Utah, 5 p.m. tomorrow, the deadline for that. 5 p.m. today was the candidate filing deadline, and we've got a few updates for you on that. First, though, a look at the news with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:33. Travel has not been easy during this past weekend's winter storm, with cars sliding, getting stuck, and spinning out of control. The Utah Highway Patrol reported 161 accidents on Sunday as of 4 p.m. and 181 as of 9 p.m. In total, UHP responded to hundreds of accidents over the weekend. Corporal Haley Shear said that with all the snow-packed roads, it's gotten very slick, and they have slide-offs and vehicles spinning out of control on the roadway. She said it's usually speed that causes crashes in the ice and snow. UHP is urging drivers to prepare for slick conditions and be aware of their surroundings. We'll check our forecast here in just a moment. A burglary suspect was taken into custody after officials said he barricaded himself inside a Salt Lake City apartment. Police said the investigation began just after 3:30 p.m. on Sunday when they received information about a home burglary in the East Liberty Park area of Salt Lake City. They said initial reports indicated the suspect may have had a weapon. As officers arrived, they found a situation with several people exiting the apartment. By the time officers arrived, the suspect had entered the apartment and began barricading himself. Police said they started to call out the suspect and gathered additional resources. They said the suspect exited the apartment at approximately 3:50 p.m. and was safely taken into custody. As of Sunday night, it was not yet clear whether a weapon was involved. There was no danger to the public in relation to the incident. And more women have joined a Tennessee lawsuit challenging the state's broad abortion ban that went into effect shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022. 3 of the women added Monday to the Tennessee suit were denied abortions while experiencing severe pregnancy complications, forcing them to travel out of state to get the procedure. The Center for Reproductive Rights, which is representing the plaintiffs, have also tweaked their complaint to also request a temporary injunction as the court case proceeds. The legal challenge is part of a handful of lawsuits filed across the U.S. and Republican-dominant states seeking clarity on the circumstances that qualify patients to legally receive an abortion. The Center for Reproductive Rights has launched legal battles in Idaho, Oklahoma, and Texas to force more clarity on when exceptions are allowed under abortion ban laws. KBNU News Time is 5:36.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. United Airlines says it's discovered some loose bolts that keep side panels from being blown away from the side of the airplane in the certain Boeing jetliners that had been grounded for inspection by the FAA. A panel blew out of an Alaska Airlines plane Friday in the air. An explosion at a hotel in Fort Worth, Texas leaves a lot of rubble strewn all over the place and at least 21 people hurt, say first responders, plus a mystery, says Fort Worth Fire Department's Craig Trajasic at the scene.
There's a smell of gas here in downtown. We're not sure if the smell of gas was caused from the explosion of the fire itself or if that's what caused the explosion. But that's what we're looking at right now at this point in time.
He's doing better, but in the hospital a week now, Defense Secretary Austin says the Pentagon, with no details on what it's all about. Secret Service says a vehicle crashed into a gate at the White House. The driver's in custody. This is ABC News.
KVNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies, then mostly cloudy. Slight chance of snow after midnight, low near 10. Chance of snow Tuesday morning, snow in the afternoon, accumulation up to 2 inches, high around 30. And then breezy, snow in the evening, snow likely after midnight, accumulation 1 to 4 inches. Some of that may come quickly with the arrival of a potential snow squall early Tuesday evening. But more snow on Wednesday. Snow likely in the morning, snow in the afternoon. Accumulations possible. Snow may be heavy at times. Wednesday afternoon, high temperature in the upper 20s. Snow likely Wednesday night. 24 has been our high. It's 20 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Bring back the sounds you've been missing. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. Get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com.
Wow, Dave, what's the matter? You don't look so good. You look like you're under a lot of stress.
You're right, Bob. And looks aren't deceiving. I thought turning 65 would be easy. Boy, was I wrong. Every day I go to the mailbox, I'm inundated with mail, bombarded with phone calls from telemarketers, and when I turn on the TV, all I see is Medicare commercials. It's like a bad dream I can't wake up from.
I know how you feel, Dave. I felt the same way.
So what'd you do?
I went to Jessup Insurance. I can't believe the peace of mind they've given me. They've helped me to understand Medicare and explained all of my insurance options. Dave, hey, Dave, where are you going?
I'm heading to Jessup Insurance to get rid of this bad dream.
Say goodbye to all the Medicare confusion. Call Jessup Insurance, 435-213-3200, or Google Jessup Insurance.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services. Let us guide you.
Are you in need of excellent surgical care? Budge Clinic General Surgery offers the future of surgery with state-of-the-art robotic-assisted procedures. From cancer treatments to surgical needs, they've got you covered. Call Budge Clinic General Surgery today, 435-716-1950, to schedule a consultation and experience the best possible outcome. Trust Doctors Anderson, Marshall, McKenna, and Peterson, the experts at Budge Clinic General Surgery, helping people live the healthiest lives possible.
The Ramsey Show. Up to 50% of American families are paying their adult children's bills to an average of $1,482 a month. Wow. I've never seen it like this. 25% of millennials, their parents are paying their house payment, their rent, or they're living in their basement. You pay your kids' bills. Psychologists call that enabling. As a matter of fact, enabling is quite the opposite of loving.
Evenings on KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Just a reminder, you heard it in the news, and last time we had this warning, it was pretty intense for about, it seemed like it was only like 15 minutes 2 years ago when we got our last snow squall. But tomorrow night, starting around 6 p.m., it's forecast here in Cache Valley, and then slowly moving its way south along the Wasatch Front and even the Evanston area until roughly the Nephi area around 10 p.m., a snow squall warning for northern Utah. This is something to take seriously. Snow squalls bring with them a lot of snow and a lot of wind, so like a whiteout condition. Visibility can be zero at times. But in addition to that, and this is what makes them really dangerous, a rapid, very extreme drop in temperature. It can be 10, 15, even 20 degrees.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And so with a lot of snow, inches of snow, and 30 to 40 mile an hour winds at the same time. So roads turn to ice immediately. Visibility disappears immediately. If you can avoid being out on the roads tomorrow night is a night to do so.
The saving grace is it looks like it may hit, towards the end of our commute here around 6 p.m. when, a lot of people are already home.
Just you and I out there on the road headed to our homes.
Just radio folks. But,
I have to record some shows for my upcoming break for the film festival. Maybe I'll stick around tomorrow night and do that till about 9 p.m. So I'm not out on the roadways.
But it looks like it hits Salt Lake around 8 p.m., which is good for them. At least it's a time when a lot of people are home, less people on the road. So that'll be good.
That's honestly, it's definitely one to take serious. Bill and I, we're not ones for a dramatic, panicked headline. generation here, but snow squall they're intense, and road conditions get so nasty so quickly. So if you have to be out on the roads tomorrow anywhere in northern Utah from here to Nephi, basically, northern half of the state, you're going to want to consider your timing.
Who was it? I think the former Channel 2, and then he retired from Channel 2 and popped up on Channel 5. Mark Eubanks.
Eubanks, yeah.
Used to wear his snow coat.
Yeah.
He had a white coat that looked like snow, and he would wear that on days that a storm was coming. So if Mark Eubanks was still doing the weather, he would have his snow coat on.
Yeah.
I think pretty much all week.
And in a snow squall, I think you would wear two.
Yeah. You'd have a snow coat with little stripes on it that indicate wind.
Yeah,
I guess.
This is, it definitely one to take seriously. This is a bit more than a whiteout or a blizzard. Well, it's more concentrated than a blizzard. It happens in a smaller area, and it's more intense than a whiteout with that drop in temperature coming with it. So wet, slushy roads turn to ice very quickly, and So keep that in mind for your tomorrow night. If you can be home before 6, probably a good idea. So
just cook up some chili and, sit by the fire and open the windows and just watch the snow squall.
Just enjoy yourself. Bill, I don't feel like I really got my fill of end of the year lists. It was kind of a hectic end of the year, as end of the years go. Usually we have plenty of time on the show to run through end of the year lists. We do the For the People movie show end of year recap and things like that. And it just feels like it went by too fast. And I ran across a list today that deserves an extension of the end of the year list time period. So we're going to do that now. I know it's officially 8 days into 2024, and I should be over these 2023 lists, but this is a really cool list. This comes from Scientific American, and it's I'm not going to go through all of them, of course, but it's 100 things we learned in 2023. Now, some of these were actually coinciding with records being set, but records being set by certain processes, which led to, learning. The first one on the list is actually an example of that. In 2023, scientists grew the world's largest onion ever. It was a 20-pound onion.
Wow.
Now, I don't know who needs a 20-pound onion. No one, really. But what made this unique is that it was, one, science. What made it unique was a 20-pound onion, right? But what was interesting about this is that they were experimenting with different types of fertilizer-free gardening, and they wanted to see they wanted to prove that you can garden well without any fertilizers whatsoever. Just a little, of the more natural stuff tilled into the soil. No pesticides, no bottled fertilizers, nothing like that that's going to be harmful for the water table. And they overdid it. They ended up with quite a few large things, but the 20-pound onion was amazing. There's a picture of it in this article. I linked it on our Facebook page. It was presented first to the public at something called the Harrogate Autumn Flower Show at the Newby Mall in Ripon, England. And the winner was a researcher at a university, Gareth Griffin, who got this out of his own garden. And again, the competition was to see what you could grow without using artificial pesticides or any kind of harmful fertilizers. You could only use natural dirt, at most stir some kind of water retention. Like I think they stirred peat moss in the spring. They tilled peat moss into the dirt, and that was it. Other than that, they just watered and were very, very selective about planting location. They ended up with a 20-pound onion. I don't know what they did with it. That was my second question, Bill. It's like, well, okay, so who ate the 20-pound onion? That's a lot of onion, I think.
And that person probably had no friends
for quite some time.
For a month.
That's right. No cholesterol either, though.
That's true.
Also in 2023, I did not know this. These were a list of 100 things learned by scientists and the public in 2023. In 2023, Jupiter held the title of the planet in our solar system with the most moons, but not for the entire year.
Really?
This is kind of a twofer, really cool story. So, first off, in February of 2023, astronomers verified a new Jovian moon circling or orbiting Jupiter. That meant Jupiter now had 95 moons. And Jupiter held that title only until May, when
somebody with more than 95 moons.
Yep, Saturn, the International Astronomical Union. These are the same folks who decided Pluto wasn't a planet, so they're suspect.
Just a rock, some rock that's out there.
They're calling it an ass. Anyway. But they discovered in May that Saturn actually had 60 moons. 60 new moons, bringing its total to 146.
Wow.
Which meant it claimed the title. Now, this is all happening because of advances in observation tools and technology and that gigantic telescope they built. So we're still learning a lot about our own solar system.
That would be cool to be on the planet and look up and see all these big, bright objects in the sky.
Yeah. And
all of them moons.
Yeah.
Instead of stars.
It would be kind of weird.
Moons.
It would be. Speaking of that same technology, the James Webb Space Telescope, which allowed this competition for planets with moons to exist in the first place, it actually recorded something about Earth in 2023. I didn't know this. The James Webb Telescope recorded what scientists at first couldn't figure it out, and then decided it was water vapor, and that it was breaking through a frozen surface. That was pretty clear. And they were looking at this 6,000-mile geyser, believe it or not, on. Now this is, I'm going to try and pronounce this. It's a moon of Saturn, Enceladus. Yeah, but apparently it's covered in ice, but the belief is that it is similar to how our planet was once covered in ice, but with a molten core, and then that core starts to crack through the ice and things warm a little bit, and eventually, you get the atmosphere and the temperatures we have today. But I'm fast-forwarded a lot there in that process as described by scientists. But the James Webb Telescope, they were studying geysers, or they were looking at this 6,000 miles off the planet's surface geyser out into space. And in order to understand how the telescope could look at those things, they decided to turn and see how much detail it could get from a geyser on Earth. So of course they looked at Old Faithful, because that was the most likely one to go off. What they found is they didn't have a good view. They couldn't get the right angle, so they started looking elsewhere, and they accidentally caught a brand new geyser in Iceland. Iceland's had quite a year.
Yeah, volcanoes and
They discovered in a very populated area, and this is what's hilarious about this story, and the reason it deserves to be on the list. In a very populated area of Iceland, this new going off every roughly hour and 7 minutes geyser had started, and none of the locals had said a thing.
Wow!
Huge tourist attraction downtown. Wasn't there yesterday. Everybody just goes on about their day in Iceland, apparently. I thought that was hilarious. But I didn't know that they'd ever use the James Webb Space Telescope to look at our planet. I didn't know it was capable of that. So, again, 100 things we learned in 2023. If you'd like to see the full list, I've linked to it on our Facebook page. Last one here, this ties to a 2022 event. It was a volcanic eruption that happened in 2022, and it was filmed in very different ways by very different pieces of equipment NASA operates that are floating around the planet. And what they found, this is interesting to me. So when the eruption happened in 2022, there was some pretty intense lightning around the area. And that was something that had been theorized but had never documented before, that there were weather events that coincided with a volcanic eruption. Which
well, a lot
makes
of times,
sense, though.
Yeah,
it would
lightning
affect the
does,
atmosphere, right?
Yeah, there are lightning strikes when a volcano does go off many times.
Sure. This is what they theorized, is that the weather would repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat for some time. Well, a year later, in 2023, looking at the same area, they did see that lightning strikes were still elevated 1 year after the volcanic eruption, which implies that there's still quite a bit close to the surface, causing enough of an atmospheric change that it's, creating the conditions for lightning in the middle of the ocean.
Wow.
Storms that did not produce lightning anywhere else float across this little somewhat dormant at this point volcano, and just let loose a string of lightning 1 year later, and then keep moving without the lightning. Very cool stuff. Again, video for the first time actually available on that. And finally, last one I promised, this is a sad one, but a new extinct species of penguin was discovered. Sad because they don't exist anymore, but cool because they are, the sketches at least, really cute. These are the modern-day relatives of penguins that live today but are no longer found anywhere on the planet. They were found in New Zealand, fossil records and more, and reconstruction based on those fossil records show that, one, penguins lived a lot longer ago than we thought, and two, the penguins today weren't even the cutest ones. These, which they are dubbing Wilson's Little Penguin, named on the New Zealand scientists who discovered the fossils, literally look like stuffed animal penguins. When you go into a store, buy a cute little penguin stuffed animal for a kid, these penguins looked like that.
Wow, except they're real.
Now we just have these these ugly modern penguins. Nah, penguins are always cute. There you have it. Just a random sampling of this list. 100 things we learned in 2023. I read through this entire list. There wasn't a thing on here I'd heard before. I don't know how I missed it. I've linked to it on our Facebook page. We'll be back right after this.
This is Dr. Red, chiropractic physician with Red River Health and Wellness. Are you suffering with fatigue, brain fog, headaches, intestinal issues, weight gain, and you haven't been able to find any answers?
Before I started at Red River, I was having a lot of stomach pain. I was overweight, severe anxiety, some depression. I had been to multiple doctors. I'd been to specialists. We had done tests, and no one could find anything that was wrong.
Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
I'm on anxiety medicine. I've lowered my dose, and I'm working with my doctor to continue to lower it. I'm sleeping through the night. I have energy for my kids. I've lost 30 pounds. I just feel really good.
Our goal is to teach you and educate you so you know how to manage your condition a lot more effectively, and you know what to do and what not to do for the rest of your life.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness, with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
There is no better time than the present to make your health your priority. This is Dan at the Sports Academy. Whether you want to get back into shape, increase your lean muscle, or just create lifelong healthy habits, the Sports Academy will help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Our certified instructors, trainers, and Pilates coaches have the tools to help you reach the next level in fitness. Make your health a top priority at the Sports Academy. Your club, your results, your life.
Beaver Mountain is open for the season. Lifts are running daily from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Listen to this radio station for a daily ski report or call 753-4822 or check out skithebeav.com for upcoming events, current weather, ticket, rental, and lesson information. Stop by the Beaver Mountain Logan office located at 1351 East, 700 North to pre-purchase your lift tickets, get your ski and snowboard rentals, and check out their retail items. Come on up and ski the Beav.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. Trump is suggesting 10 debates with Biden ahead of the November election. Hear the risk and reward for each candidate. Also, will your upcoming flight with Alaska or United Airlines be affected by the grounding of some Boeing 737 MAX 9s? And the best time to eat dinner for the family and your body clock. Tuesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
I lied. One more list. This one is a 2024 list, though. The networks and streaming services compiled their data as they did last year for the first time. This is the second time they've done it to show the most watched Christmas movies in 2023's holiday season of every state. And the top most watched movie here in Utah in 2023 Christmas season, the 1951 version of A Christmas Carol. For Idaho...
Was that Bing in that? Bing?
Yeah, Bing Crosby. That one. For Idaho, though, it was A Christmas Story. And also Hawaii, A Christmas Story. I have no explanation on this. Arizona, Christmas with the Cranks. What gives Arizona? I don't even know. Yeah, we're just going to leave it there. Let's all judge Arizona until tomorrow's show. Speaking of tomorrow's show, we'll have more on John Dougal entering the District 3 race, what that means for the state auditor's office. Who's going to run in that spot now? Well, some names popped up today and made it official. We'll talk about that tomorrow. The Aggie Coaches Show is next here on KVNU Logan.